life, sex, goals, and oh, hell knows, this is Midlife Craving. Damn, it feels good to be back. What is up, cravers? I'm sad to report that I did not become a permanent resident of St. Lucia. I'm back in Baltimore, sigh. But hey, at least you get me for more and more. You know I always want more episodes. That's the bright side, I guess. So my friend Anton this weekend, shout out to you, Anton. I know you're listening. He gave me this great idea. He said, you know, Adrian, in the beginning of your episodes, how you like unpack all the crazy shit going on in your life, you should call it something. He's like, how about your 5-minute orgasm? You know, like a release of all the shit going down, like let it go and let it out. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's a really good idea. Like we name it something because I always got crazy shit going on in my life. So here goes my 5-minute orgasm where I release all the shit going on in my life lately. Oh, God, can I just say really quick, like if I could tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, shit, my ass would be on the news. I swear to God, like it's been an epic week. So, all right, let me just first say that I highly recommend St. Lucia. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you follow me on Instagram, then you saw some of my photos. The geography, the crystal clear water, the great beaches, and oh my God, some of the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen. The people, the vibe, the sun, the sand, it was like the perfect time out. I also met some incredible people. Oh my God, I met a dentist and I confirmed that dentists can tell if you've been sucking dick. So yeah, there is no hiding that one. And by the way, that is so me. Like, oh, what do you do for a living? Nice to meet you. Oh, you're a dentist? So, hey, can you tell I've been sucking dick? This is the person that I am. He was actually very cool. And he was like, yes, I can. So I've confirmed, everyone, just let you know, your dentist is going to know if you're sucking dick. I've got to say, in the last 2 weeks, I've been going through a lot. And it's just a time in my life where I feel like everything's up in the air. And I guess that's like the whole premise of this podcast when I started it. It's like normalizing the crazy of this time of life. You know, it's turning 40 and I'm like, what the fuck? I've really been feeling that lately. Some things that I've been going through are really painful and I wish I could elaborate, but it's not my place to put everyone's business in the streets. And speaking of, like, I'm really trying to clean up my side of the street right now. I'm not a perfect person and I will never claim to be. I will own any and all of my flaws, but I have to say that I am finally listening to my gut. My heart is on the same wavelength as my head, and I'm starting to make some positive changes in my life. You know, they're painful for sure, but they're positive. So there's a lot of unknown going on with me, and it's pretty goddamn scary, but I know that all the moves I'm making right now are the right ones for me. I also know that I'm going to be okay. I have incredible love and support in my life. I'm blessed with a great job. I got good friends, you know, my health, and I have the best little girl in the whole world. And I'm kind of just looking forward to seeing what the rest of 2021 is going to bring for me right now. As I wrap up this little orgasm, God, I love orgasms. I wanted to tell you something tragic that happened this week. So in the packing and unpacking and moving all the things around for my trip, I lost Captain's charger. And let me just tell you, there is nothing, I mean, absolutely fucking nothing worse than getting ready for some alone time with yourself and you learn that the batteries are dead. Or worse, there's no way to charge. So I have bought 2 chargers on Amazon. Now I got to back up. And I'm just here to tell you, stay charged, my friends. Stay the fuck charged. So let's get this party started. As I look around and it's just me. That's right. It's just me, myself, and I. You know, I was thinking on the plane back from St. Lucia, like, wow, episode 10 episodes already. Like, how's that even possible? You know, these weeks have been flying by. It's fucking crazy that it's April. Like, it's hard to believe. 10 episodes just seemed like a really big milestone for me. And I thought, you know what? I can lock this one down on my own. I can take it on just like I did my first and second episode and say things that I want to say for myself right now. And I was thinking, you know, I'm reaching the end of this decade of my life. I'm turning 40 in August. And I was thinking I could do a little 10 for 10, 10 things I've learned in the last decade. And let me just be real here. My ass is still learning, okay? Like I am a fucking work in progress. There's things that I've been learning, there's things I'm still learning, and there's things I'm going to relearn. And I'm really hoping that maybe in this next decade I start to get some of the shit. All right, so this goes in no particular order. Here goes. So number 10, I like to call it accounting 101. The people in your life, are they a debit or are they a credit? And we're only looking for assets here. So take an inventory of the people around you. Like who you surround yourself with really plays a big role in your overall happiness. I can swear by that now. Like in my 30s, I have learned that many times. I feel like I've learned some hard lessons with frenemies in my 30s. I had a whole lot of takers in my life at the beginning of my 30s. They would come around when they needed something. They weren't around for my wins. And boy, did they love when I was miserable. I mean, those are the debits that I'm talking about. I noticed this particularly when I was going through my divorce, right? I mean, I was miserable. I complained a lot. I distracted myself by how miserable I was by giving to others. And my frenemies fucking loved me. I was in a worse position than them, so they can, feel superior and their ego would be boosted. And all I wanted to do was give and give and give so that I can distract myself from the reality that I was living in. So I was constantly doing for them, and that relationship was working for them. This went on way too much in my 30s. And I know for certain people, they definitely took advantage of me. I noticed like when I started like getting my shit together, I started losing weight, feeling better about myself. And I finally got out of my, marriage and the situation that was making me so unhappy that people who I thought were my friends, they were nowhere to be found. And even after my divorce and what I like to call my glow up of 2017, is that the people I was the closest with just a year before, they were completely gone. They didn't like the new confident me, and I no longer served them. So that was a tough lesson to learn. So like take that inventory and look around the room. I wanted to share something I saw on social media too, and this really resonated with me. It was a podcast that DMX did in February. And man, I am really sad to see like what's happened to him this week. And I know it's looking so grim, but damn, it's hard to see stuff like that. I mean, his record, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, like got me through high school. I mean, you guys remember those songs, I'm sure. So anyway, so he was speaking very matter of fact about this, and it hit me hard. And I think it will for you too. So listen up. He said, always trust everyone to be themselves. Trust in the fact that you can see them well. It takes too much energy not to trust someone. Trust them to be them. Trust a thief to steal. Trust a snake to bite you. Trust a liar to lie. And I was like, damn, like, especially that sentence, like, it takes too much energy not to trust someone. Like, I've never really heard that before. And it really was just like, hit me like, damn, like that's a really big statement. So there's some real truth to that shit. And I really feel like I have my eyes open after hearing all that, let me tell you. As I move into my 40s, I'm only looking for assets and credits. Like I hope that you can find many of them in your life too. And just a little pro tip, if you want to start slowly removing frenemies out of your life, that unfollow button on social media, it works miracles, okay? I mean, out of sight, out of fucking mind. All right, number 9, recognize patterns and cycles and learn how to break them. This is a huge one for me and something I feel like I've really started to implement in my life lately. I'm glad that I've learned this shit from my 40s, let me tell you. So I talk a lot about cycles. I mean, you can break down every aspect of your life, including every person in it, to a steady circle of events. It's important to be conscious of them and spot them if you're in a pattern, and then quit or change them if they're no longer serving you. Like, for example, I've been very familiar with one cycle throughout my life. Unfortunately, because it's almost like an abuse cycle. So it goes like this: incident, reconciliation, pacification, and change promised. And then time passes and normalcy resumes. Rinse and repeat, right back to the incident. So it's this constant cycle. It's an ugly cycle, honestly, to be in. And you never really quite know when the next incident's going to be, but it's coming. I grew up with that constantly, living with an alcoholic. And I sadly find myself in familiar territory. I knew that the cycle that was currently going on, I mean, it had to stop. And I have set a boundary, and it's going to be met, and the distance will stop that cycle from recurring again. And I know I'm being super vague here, and I wish I can share everything. But just so you know, the cycle could be so many different things in your life. as long as you acknowledge it and then figure out like what boundary can you set for it to stop and then fucking do it. I want to mention something about patterns as well. When you notice a pattern, pay attention to it. I like to say a pattern is a motherfucking pattern. Admit its presence and work towards making that change. Like when you execute the alternative to that pattern, give it some time. And then in about a month, like it will start to become a habit. So that pattern's going to be broken. I mean, about like cycles and patterns, like, what the definition of insanity is, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. A negative cycle or pattern that you're in, I mean, this shit is insanity. So it's important to like set those boundaries and stop those cycles and patterns. So I really feel like I've been working really hard on that. All right, number 8, learn to let go. I think Zach and I were talking about this in the last episode. I'm sitting here talking about debits and takers. Let's go ahead and let them go. Previous mistakes from your past, things that you aren't proud of, let that shit go. Dwelling is extremely dangerous for your soul. Learn to forgive, understand you can't change the past, and just start making the best decisions that you can moving forward. I need to hear that loud and clear this week. Think to yourself, is it serving you? It could be, people or a job or an event that was in your life. Like it's there for a reason, and that purpose might already be served. So acknowledge that and then move on, let it go. There's something I learned recently that has really helped me stop dwelling, or what ifing, and that I do a lot of that, or fantasizing. It's putting up a mental stop sign as soon as I recognize that like my thoughts are starting to take over. So this works really well. So I'll be, thinking, oh my gosh, what if that happens? And then what if that happens? And I'll just like think of a stop sign, have the mental image. And I swear it does a really good job of stopping you, bringing you back to the moment and being like, okay, like you're going off here. There's no reason to do this, So it's a great way, especially too, like if you're going through a breakup, I mean, putting that mental stop sign up and just stop it, stop dwelling, stop worrying about the future, just be here and present and in the now. It's just funny. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, yeah, Adrienne, you fucking know it all. Like, yeah, you're struggling all the time. And it's really easy to say these things. I know. It's easy to forget the bad and to remember and dwell on the good or what it was or what we had. It can also take a while for your heart to catch up with what your head already knows. Just be at peace, and know that when it's time to let something or someone go, you're making the right decision. And try that mental stop sign. I swear to God, it works. So number 7, one of my favorite ones, look good, feel good. This is one of the mottos that I live and swear by. Work the fuck out. Get out there, go to the gym, exercise outside, put on makeup, do your hair, get your fucking nails did, make time for yourself. Like that is what will boost your confidence. All those things will keep building your confidence. And, the more confident that you are, the more successful that you will be. I've talked a lot about working out, and I have people say to me all the time, how do you find the motivation? What's your drive? And it's really, I don't like working out. It sucks, but I love feeling good after. And that's the result that I'm going for. Find a workout buddy. Shout out to Katina, who is mine. She keeps me motivated and holds me accountable. Like you need that. And then work towards small goals, sign up for a 5K and then work towards that goal. Take before photos and start, taking measurements and start to see like changes in your body. Like that is going to be motivational for sure. It will absolutely change your life. And I feel like your confidence will soar. It's really helped me in my life going through so much, divorce and dating and co-parenting. There's a lot of shit. Whenever I'm feeling down, I make sure to get that workout in. And by the way, like those days you don't want to work out, those workouts count the most. I'll do my hair, full makeup, and get like fully dressed. And all of a sudden, like I don't feel like laying around and doing nothing anymore. So I promise you it works. Okay, 6. This is one of my favorite ones. It's be unapologetically yourself. And don't fucking apologize for that. I'm loud. I curse a lot. You guys listen to me. I like to rule the room. I understand it can make people uncomfortable, probably the way I talk about life and sex. But you know what? that's okay. That's just me being me. If you don't like me, you don't have to be around me. And I say that in the nicest way possible. I mean, really, I am. I mean, you are in charge of your own happiness, and you can't be happy if you're faking it for someone else. God, that reminds me of, faking an orgasm. Like, don't do that shit either. Be your authentic self in the bedroom as well. All right, moving on. I will admit, like, one of the things that I have done in the last decade, by not being unapologetically myself, is I suppressed my sexual appetite for far too long. I neglected my needs in fear that, like, I would be judged and criticized, right? I'm into some crazy shit. Like, being choked. I'm really into breath play. I love watching porn and role playing and just letting my freak flag fly. I mean, I want to install a sex swing in my basement. Okay. I don't care what anyone thinks about that. That's just something that I want to do. And doing those things are important to me. And I really deeply regret pushing them to the side because it sets up disappointment and confusion for my partner. If I'm not confident in saying what I want, they're not mind readers. They're not going to know, especially the crazy things that I'm, into. And they're going to wonder why, like, something's missing. And that's not fair to anyone. So I'm no longer going to be ashamed of my thoughts, needs, wants, or desires. I don't care what anyone thinks either. I like what I like and I want what I want. I'm not apologizing for that. So, and being you also means not comparing yourself to anyone else. You are your only competition. I saw this thing, I guess it was on TikTok, I think it was. And it was like the only people that you have to impress is your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. Like, think about that for a moment. I was like, wow, if my 8-year-old self's looking at me right now, what's she think? And then when I'm 80, what am I going to look back and think about this time in my life right now? So it's something to think about. And I really think the key to being unapologetically yourself, and this comes with age, it's being fucking unbothered. Who cares what anyone else thinks? You have one life to live. Live it well. I mean, I know I plan to. All right, number 5. God, we're halfway there already. I feel like I'm talking really fast too. I do that all the time. All right, so take risks to get rewards. Don't ever let fear dictate your decision making. I think Zach and I were talking about this when we were talking about goals and putting energy and effort into something so you can reap those rewards, like really think about what is your passion? How can you cultivate it? How can you make that happen? And then what can you do to just start? Starting something is the hardest part. Let me tell you when I think about this podcast, exactly 1 year ago was when I thought about doing the podcast. I sat on this idea with a friend for a few months because the thought of getting it all together, it was pretty terrifying. Like, I was like, wow, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was stepping into a world I had no idea about, but I knew that I really want to talk about all the crazy shit going on during this time in my life to help others realize that, if they're going through this, they're not alone. And so I kept at it, right? I took the first action. I started researching what, things I needed, and then followed by the second. And the next thing I know, I was taking photos and preparing for a launch. Right before my launch, my friend decided she didn't want to be a part of this. And it was a huge blow for me because she's awesome. And I'm still hoping that she comes on as a guest one day. You know who you are. Come on my show. And then, so it was hard to keep going through that, but I did. And then, with Lauren, when she mentioned after I announced her as my co-host that it was too much, I mean, so many times I could have given up. And, podcasting, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time and a lot of, effort during the week. And I'm already busy as fuck anyway. But I get messages from my listeners and they give me incredible feedback. I mean, I have so much love and so much support, and that reward is so worth it. So I fucking love doing this. I really do. So just think about this, take the risk, get the reward. Set a goal, do some research, and start small. And another thing too is you don't have to be perfect. I always tell people, God, give me a break on my first 2 episodes. I was a fish out of water and learning. It is very odd to come downstairs in my little podcast closet and talk to myself. I feel like I'm talking to the wall, but you learn and get more comfortable with it as I am now. So, and the experience will come with whatever you're trying to do as time goes by. Just get started. What else do you have to lose other than the gut-wrenching fact that you never even tried? So think about that when you're starting to think about your goals and you're scared to try. I mean, not trying is far worse. Okay, number 4. I need to hear this one right now. It's okay to not be okay. I say all the time that life is hard and relationships are harder. The world, it's a fucking brutal place and there's stressful things coming at you all the time. I mean, I know it is for me. Whatever I'm going through, and God, lately shit's been pretty intense. I just try to remember and know that I'm going to be okay. And I implement a few things when I'm going through shit like this. I remember first that there is no shame in not being perfect. And I have, and I will continue to make mistakes. I'll definitely, find myself doing shit I regret, but I can't beat myself up about it forever. I will always take responsibilities for my actions. I'm going to own them and just work to be better the next time. I know that, it's okay to have a little pity party sometimes too. Not a big one where you're like down for a week, like fuck that. But, a night when I can cancel plans and just stay in bed. Or I love like having a Sunday just to be lazy and do nothing. I mean, those are things that it's okay to have that downtime. It's okay to be like, I'm not okay. I need to chill the fuck out right now. When I was like thinking about it's okay to not be okay, I was thinking of this story when I was going through my divorce. So I was at work and it was a rough week. I had my daughter alone and it was her first week of school. So it was stressful, all the back and forth, and it was a lot getting her ready and, all that stuff because my ex was on a work trip. So I found out, I think midweek, that actually he was on a vacation with his girlfriend. And I was furious because here I am killing myself so that he can go on a work trip. And he had also been complaining, like, I don't have money for tuition this month or whatever. And that motherfucker was on a vacation, right? So I'm like, oh, hell no. I left work furious. I came home. I drank 2 Red Bulls. I was like pacing the basement with a bottle of Grey Goose vodka. I took a Xanax. I remember, God, that's like a hell of a cocktail, by the way. Jesus. Whatever. Crazy shit happens when you're going through a divorce. So I remember my sister came over and she was just watching me pace the room and she was like, oh my fucking God, like this is bad. Like what's going on? And I went down into like the basement storage area where he kept a bunch of shit. And I took a hammer to his Lego collection. I mean, I actually took a video of it and sent it to friends and I was just like, current status. Was it a bit manic? Yeah. Do I regret it? No. It was like the piñata of my little pity party and I fucking felt better. So God, I'm sitting here thinking of all the crazy shit. If my walls could talk over summer 2017, they would have their own fucking podcast. Let me tell you that. So God. So lastly, I have friends who remind me, and I swear I should get this tattooed on my fucking forehead, but I like to remember when I'm going through things that, feelings are not facts. They just aren't. So like, stop fucking making them up in my head. That's where the mental stop sign can come in again. And just know that like, this is not the end of whatever, and just to fucking relax and remain calm. And I like to ask myself too, like, what is the worst case scenario that can happen here? And really like the worst of the worst. And usually it's not so bad. Or I'll ask myself, what is the truthiest truth? I love that. The truthiest truth of why I'm feeling this way. And when I realize it and I see it for what it is, I'm like, wow, this is not worth all this anxiety to begin with. So it's okay to not be okay. Trust me. And if when in doubt, get yourself a hammer and just smash some shit. It feels a lot better. All right. So number 3, this is something that I really appreciated during my little adult time out in St. Lucia. We are so small in this world and you need to recognize that. So there are 7.8 billion people in this world. I feel like Dr. Evil. I need to put like my pinky up to my lip and be like 7.8 billion people. But for real, there is no reason to be hung up on one person, one thing, or one certain situation. Life is really short and this world is really large. Get out there and allow your troubles to become extremely minor. By the way, one of the things I was thinking about, I'm really thinking of traveling alone this summer. I want to go somewhere new, like completely alone, and experience that. If any of you out there have done that, hit me up with some tips or locations that you could suggest. I will take them. All right. So number 2, and you're going to want to listen to this one loudly. I know that I need to hear it again. Say no, set boundaries, and hold them. This is something I guess I will master in my 40s, maybe. I feel like I'm always working on saying no. I'm always trying to make others stick to boundaries that I set, learning lessons and trying to be better at it. I'm going to tell you that. Like, I'm a work in progress. That's for goddamn sure. I heard this weekend someone told me, he said, the word no, it's a complete sentence. And I was like, oh, wow, hell yes, it is. Like there's no explanation needed. It's a no. I feel like I have a dare campaign right now, just say no, like just fucking say no. I remember a few years ago, I realized that random school birthday parties and baby showers and bridal showers, ugh, God, and other events like that were just not my fucking thing anymore. And I thought to myself, I don't enjoy these, so why am I going? There's only so many Saturdays. And so I started saying no, and it felt fucking great. I don't care about going there and wearing a baby pin on my fucking shoulder or smelling diapers. Like, fuck that. I'm done with that shit. One of the best things that I've ever gotten from my therapist too was this thing called your personal bill of rights. Now, you're going to want to Google this and bring it up because it's 25 things that you have the right to do. I highly recommend. I print it out, put it in your office, whatever. So a few of my favorites from that list are: I have the right to make mistakes and not be perfect. I feel like I should go look in a mirror. I have the right to not be responsible for others' behaviors, actions, feelings, or problems. And that's huge. You're not responsible for the other things that other people do. And as a codependent person, I used to take that shit on all the time, but I'm not anymore. I have the right to follow my own values and standards, and I'm setting those standards pretty damn high nowadays. I have the right to be angry at someone I love. That's a big one. You always want to protect and care for the person that you love, but it's okay to be angry at them. Like, you are allowed. That is a personal bill of rights. I have the right to change and grow. That's what this entire fucking episode's about. And, I'm working on it. And then the last one that I love on there is I have the right to be happy. And that's a big one. Your happiness is everything. I actually printed this out and put it on my desk at work, like right in front of me, because it's a reminder that, I am the most important person in my life. And you know what? That actually just brings me segue right into number one: protect and put yourself first. At the end of the day, always remember that you and only you are responsible for your happiness. Putting yourself first allows your overall happiness to be at the forefront of everything. And I'm talking about, putting yourself before your children even. Put yourself first, even before your kids. I mean, that's a huge change I made for myself in my late 30s. And that's been one of the most important. My needs come first and everyone else is second. I know what you're thinking. And it's not being selfish. I feel like it's being smart. You're all that you've got. And if you're taken care of, no matter what life throws at you, you've got yourself. I feel like this is especially important to me being divorced and on my own. There's this song that I heard actually in St. Lucia on a random playlist that's by Billie Eilish, and it's called My Future. And it's really resonated with me lately. It's about getting to know yourself, being okay being alone, and just seeing what the future holds. She says she's in love with her future and she just can't wait to meet her. She talks about, taking time to really focus on herself. And she also says how she knows she's supposed to be lonely and unhappy because she's not with someone, but isn't she someone? And that's right. It's okay to be alone. There's nothing wrong with that. Being in a relationship shouldn't just be a status symbol for the world to say, oh, she's okay because she's not alone. Most of those people, by the way, are not happy, let alone by themselves. When you protect your values, put yourself first, and maintain that mindset, it is a powerful thing. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Pour yourself into you. That is where the magic's going to happen. Remember that. So there's my little 10 for 10. I'm still a work in progress. Shit. I think I'm always going to be. But you know what? At least I'm learning and I'm growing and working towards something. I hope that my little lessons over the last 10 years of my life that I can highlight that I've learned or that I'm working on can maybe help you or put some things into perspective for you. All right, I am really excited because on my next episode, I have my first straight man joining me. Zach, do not be jealous. You are my gay husband forever and ever. Amen. I'm committed to you. But get excited, ladies, and hit me up with any and all of your questions. We're going to be talking a lot about dating in your 40s, including one of my favorite rules of his, which is don't fuck the bartender. I can't wait for him to elaborate on that. I know we're going to talk a lot about sex. We're going to have some really great stories to share, and I cannot wait. So you guys, be good, have fun, stay safe, and remember, just say no.